This is the Initiates Podcast. Here, we create space to explore the path of initiation as we reawaken the forgotten wisdom that resides within us all. I am your host and guide, Natalie Grace. Join me every Thursday for an enlightening exploration of contemporary spirituality. It's my honour to journey with you. Hello Seekers, thank you so much for joining me today. On today's episode, I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be sharing with you some of my channeling. I guess this is kind of a mini episode. The episode I was hoping to release this week has required some extra attention, some extra research, some extra consideration because it's quite a big topic. So rather than leave you hanging, I wanted to share a part of me that I haven't really shared yet in this podcast format. So just to be clear, channeling is basically like the recital of higher wisdom. It's a flow of consciousness that comes through. It is the use of your body and voice and mind as a conduit for receiving messages of higher guidance. You might also understand channeling as downloads. Some people call them downloads as well. And so for me, this just comes through as thoughts, and sometimes I speak these thoughts aloud, but more often than not, I'm more comfortable writing them down. So I'm going to be sharing one of each of those methods with you today. I'm going to be sharing a very raw recording of a shower download. So I'm sure many of you listeners can relate that we can have some really big epiphanies in the shower. The shower, I've come to believe, is a portal. It's a place where you literally are in flow, that your energy body is being cleansed. And in those moments, if you have a spaciousness in your mind and in your heart, you are very open to receive higher wisdom. Sometimes I simply receive it and let it flow through my mind as thoughts. Sometimes I feel compelled to speak it out loud, and this energy is actually really intense. There are lots of reasons why I decided to do this podcast. That's actually one of them. The energy of speaking this aloud with nowhere for it to go became very sticky and heavy, and I realized that these messages were coming in to be shared and projected outward rather than rebounded back into me, if that makes sense. So in this portal, this water temple, I have now taken to grabbing my phone and pressing record while I speak what's coming through. And you'll hear the quality of my voice is a little different. It's a bit faster. I don't use so much, even though the production quality is a little bit rough. And the second is a more professional recording of me reciting a message from the Akashic Records that I'd previously channeled through automatic writing that has to do with the density of thought. But before we get started with the channeling, today is my birthday. I am turning 40, which I'm oddly excited about. And in the spirit of celebration, I have a special request. I am so loving the journey of podcasting. I feel my alignment to my soul purpose deepening with each and every episode I record and share with you all. I'm heartened to see my podcast reaching more people each week, and I'm truly overjoyed to receive feedback from the lovely souls who felt called to share it with me. I like to set goals for myself each year, and in this new year, I've found myself redefining a lot of aspects of my life in this process of goal setting. And I even thought about the term goal, and I created a new term because I feel like goal is a bit trite. It's a bit corporate. It shouldn't be, but it has that energy for me. So I'm setting myself beacons. I'm calling them beacons. That vision of a guiding light is much more powerful and real to me than a goal, I think. And over the past few years, I've been in a heavily introspective mode of self-exploration, of contraction, which has been absolutely integral to my path of awakening and has led me to this very point where I'm speaking with you today. But I'm growing bored of this introspective phase, and I feel I'm ready to bloom. And it's my wish to expand my message further and start to grow a community. And this podcast is the vehicle for me to do that. So if you're enjoying the Initiates podcast, if you're resonating with the messages that I'm sharing, I have a very simple request: to follow, rate, and share. So firstly, follow the Initiates in your preferred podcast player and you'll receive notifications of new episodes every week. You can rate the Initiates in your podcast player. It's super quick to do. Just add some stars and it will really help me reach more people. Some podcast players also allow for written reviews. So if you feel called to leave a written review, I'd be ever so grateful. But even just a rating would be amazing. If you feel like others could gain value by listening, tell your friends or share a clip to your socials. I've got plenty of clips on my Instagram page at the Initiates podcast that you can share. And if you do that, don't forget to tag me directly if you're sharing to your stories so that I can see. And lastly, it's about connection. If there's any topic that you'd like me to explore, send me a message, get in touch and let me know. I would really love to hear from you. Okay, so with that humble request done, let's journey. Okay, so just warning again, the sound is a little echoey and I haven't edited any content in here. So this is me, unfiltered, completely raw. I hope you enjoy.
Firstly, the head density, that maybe our bodies are getting like lighter, but our heads still are extremely heavy. So how do we deal with that without hunching, without hurting our body that supports our heads? The second was about the more density of thought, and it's about the density of choice. This is specifically relating to consumer choices. So when we lack feeling free in ourselves, we lack feeling free in the world, and then conveniently served up all these consumer choices that are completely unnecessary, and the space it makes to deliberate and consider and then make a decision is incredibly dense. First of all, the offering is dense. It holds a dense energy because it's not clear and simple, and it's designed that way. And the second is that the process we go through, we're in, say, the supermarket and there's a whole entire aisle of breakfast cereal, which is a food we don't even need. We stand there, unless you've got your favourite dialed in, you stand there thinking, which one can I pick today? Wow, I feel so rich. I feel so free. Look at all these choices I have. And it's there to clog up mind space. So it holds a density, that enormous offering of choice. And this is very related to consumer choice. It's there to, one, create thought density to distract you. So whenever there's thought density in the mind, it's there to take up space that could be used for something else or just used as spaciousness in the mind, which helps with calm, which helps with clarity. And the second part of that is that this adds to our heaviness. So us standing there making thought decisions, it's just a way that the matrix reinforces us to not use our intuition. It's a way that we're given all this information, this messaging on the box, different colours. We've got ingredients lists, we've got health ratings. They just add more and more and more information to every single box of the hundreds of cereals that exist. And we're supposed to consider all of that through the thought process in making a decision, rather than just, some of us are attuned, maybe those with Taurus moons. I know what I want. I'm hungry. I want a treat. I want that one. Go straight in. And this isn't just about cereal. This is about everything. So think about, on the flip side, if you need a car, going shopping for a car, there's so many choices. In Australia now, I think we have more car brands than anywhere else in the world. And of course, it's by design, because we're in this time of hyper identity, of micro identity. And so cars for a long time have been badges for identity. So there's just more more offerings now, more choice, whatever these choices are that we're talking about. They're there to make your being more dense. They add density to your energy bodies. So imagine, and we do have examples of this, say in Russia, for instance, in a particular time, one brand of car with 3 types of car, one for utility, one for a large family, one for a small family or a single. And how much easier, how much faster would it be when you're not given all those consumer choices? Your mind is freed up to do other things rather than go through the thought process, the deliberation process about choosing a car. And what I'm trying to say is, yes, it's nice to have choice, but it's an illusion of freedom. The consumer choices are there to make us feel free when we're not. And if you feel triggered by me suggesting that life would be better if there were only like one brand of car and three options, you are probably bought into that illusion that consumer choice makes you feel free. If you feel contained by only given one car, even though you don't need a particular brand of car, you just need a mode of transport, then that's something to look at. Where do you feel free? Where do you feel trapped in your own life? This goes beyond all the choices we create in our lives, being constantly busy with all these different responsibilities and projects. How many of them are really necessary? All these choices we have are actually oppressing us, because as soon as we have too many of them, it's hard to make a decision we go from a simple, logical, rational, easily stepped out process to something that goes in circles of deliberation, and that is by design. So if you are feeling like you're lacking freedom or overwhelmed by choice, the mission is to simplify, remove options, create space in your offerings, create space in your calendar, create space in what you purchase, all of those things. Create space, because that's where you will feel free.
And here is the message of higher guidance channeled from the Akashic Records. We ask you to share a sacred message about the thought realm. The thought realm is a very powerful place. In many ways, it is the Akashic field, as all thoughts reside and live on in this collective field. Even the silliest, most mundane, or most fleeting thoughts will continue to exist there, beyond time and space for eternity, adding to the collective energetic vibration. Although thoughts are not themselves physical, they have the power to make the head feel heavy. The feeling of heaviness is the physical sensation of the weight of too many thoughts. It is important that we let thoughts pass from the mind freely to the thought realm. We mustn't hold on to our thoughts as they have the power to weigh us down, cloud our vision, and ultimately manifest our worldview and our physical reality. When we hold on to too many thoughts, it can create headaches or influence other areas of the body, manifesting as emotional stress or physically as pain or dis-ease. They also start to meld together and obstruct our ability to think clearly. We ask that you share the importance of releasing the thoughts that are ready to move on to the thought realm. The head can get heavy with thoughts that no longer serve the highest good. We ask you all to feel, rather than think, about which types of thoughts are weighing the spirit down or cause worry or pain. We ask that you let these go. Let these thoughts pass out of your energy field to be absorbed by the collective field, to make space for new thoughts to arrive. These new thoughts will come in the form of sparks of inspiration, epiphanies, and moments of awe and wonder. Beautiful, high-frequency thoughts that will help the head and whole self feel lighter and more connected to spirit. We are sure you will wonder, but how do I make space? Meditation will work, of course, but there are other ways. Here are the instructions. Go out into nature, sit on the grass or a comfortable rock. Ask Gaia and your spirit guides to connect with you. Ask them to clear your mental energy field, to take the thoughts that no longer serve, and to transmute that energy. Ask that the space that remains be filled with Gaia's pure and unconditional love. Another way to create space in the mental field is to consciously create thoughts of gratitude throughout the day. Be mindful of what is taking place, the surrounds, the people, animals and birds, colours and sounds. Think of your gratitude as you witness these moments in life. Observe the thought, the gratitude, and the feeling it creates within. Then wish these beautiful thoughts off into the ether to be shared with the collective. As space is created in the mind, new inspiration and creativity will be invited to flow in and throughout. End transmission. So even though today's episode was quite short, I hope that it provided some powerful information and provided you with a new perspective on the thought realm, the density of thought, and having a greater awareness of the need for space in the mental energy body. If you enjoyed these channelings, I encourage you to follow me on my tarot account at Crystal Aura Tarot. I will leave a link to both my Instagram profile and also my most recent channeling in the show notes for you. But the reason I encourage you to follow me there, as well as the Initiates podcast profile and Instagram. But over at Crystal Aura Tarot, I regularly do channeling. So I do new and full moon ceremonies live on Instagram every 2 weeks, where I talk a little bit about the astrological energy and then also kind of the collective energy, and I'll pull some cards and I'll get channeled wisdom coming through while I do that. So I'm basically doing a channeled sort of reading for the collective to coincide with the energies of those lunar cycles. And then I also do every now and then an Akashic activation channeling, which is a little bit more similar to what I recited on today's episode. I recently did one for the equinox and it was really interesting. It brought through a lot of wisdom around the element of air that was just beautiful to read and share with my collective. So go and check it out. Follow the link in the show notes and let me know what you think and how that message resonates with you. Thank you all again for listening, and until next week, peace.